As the Chinese say, and only know too well, make happy those who are near you now, and those who are far will come. Stop. I wish for you both, with all my heart, a magnificent and loving life together, and I can't wait to see the new Mr. and Mrs. Curran sometime soon. Stop. Claudia. Stop. Okay, and this one's a little closer to home from somebody that also couldn't be here. Little bro, when I pushed you out of the tree all those years ago, I was really trying to teach you how to fly. Maybe you should thank me for now for your love of trees and your skills as a tree surgeon. Now you're taking this leap on your own. Don't worry, you've got yourself an absolute diamond. We think you two make a fantastic couple and are going to have a long and complimentary life together. I love you truly, you make your old git brother proud. I would love to have been there to give you a huge hug now. We will see you, where we'll have a few jugs of homebrew whilst we toast your special day. And it's from Sean, Adele, Kane and Lana. Okay, now we've got that over with. We can move on to a little bit about my friend Martin.
Yay! Come on!
I've waited about 20 years for this. So Martin is to many of the people, especially on this table around here, many things. He's a son, he's a brother, right? He's a father. He's an uncle, uncle to nephew and niece. He's now a husband, a son-in-law, and a brother-in-law. But to me, he has been for many years my best friend, and I've had a lot of good times with him. We've laughed a lot, we've had good times and bad times, and he's always helped me through a lot of them. I think we've helped each other through a lot. And in fact, I think I've kept him out of jail at least once, which is a story for another time.
Oh, tell
And I'm not telling it because that's why I'm your best man.
That's right.
He goes by many names, and I learned a new one tonight, actually, just recently. So, what was it? It was Marty Farty, yes. And I was told he'd hate it. But he goes by many names. There's Cuppa K, I think is one of them. Captain Caveman, I believe, is another. He has been Bouffant Boy before. And so these are names that a lot of people are known by. And for those of you that don't know him, I thought I'd tell you a little about him. He was born in Porton, in Wiltshire, in South Wiltshire in 1974. And for those of you that know Porton, it's a small village in South Wiltshire, and for those of you who don't, it's right next to a place called Porton Down, which back in the 1970s was the site for a lot of British military experiments. When I found this out, it all became frighteningly clear. And so after living in Porton, the family moved to Shrivenham, where I believe Martin in his younger years was an altar boy. And according to his brother Sean, started drinking at an early age at church, which again explains a lot. I think he was driven to drink, as Sean's words were. Later, as a Catholic schoolboy, he attended St Joe's, which there's a few people that might have done that here themselves, including Annette, which is like where I think you guys actually met. She was stalking you, yes. Good answer. And then after leaving school, that's when basically when I met Martin, and we were at New College, and around that time he moved into a place in Old Town called Lansdowne Road. Which was a very shady place for some very, very sunny people.
Yeah.
Over here tonight. You know, being young and enjoying life, we did quite a lot of moving around the country and dancing the night away in farmers' fields.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, I like the addition of the barn tonight. It's a good touch. We moved on. But Martin's a really good friend, and he's a great guy, and he has some interesting qualities. He has the ability to be entirely out of his depth, and yet remains seemingly in control. And a good example of this is when he and I were living in New Zealand years ago, and he'd invited me up from Auckland, and I'd gone up to the north of the country and was staying with him. And he managed to land us. He had this beautiful place up on the hill overlooking the Bay of Islands with all the water and the land and stuff out there. And I get there and he says, oh, okay, so I've got a job lined up for us. We're going to do a barbecue. Well, okay, it's fine. It's for my neighbour. Okay. Turns out his neighbour works for an organisation called AFCO, which is the Auckland Farmers Freezing Cooperative. They're basically the biggest producers of meat in New Zealand. And we're doing the barbecue for the upper management for the year. There's two pommy fellas just fresh off the boat, behind the grill, with a bunch of Kiwis that know their meat. I was more nervous that day than I am standing here right now. But Martin didn't flinch. He basically bluffed us through it with great bravado, and we ended up having a great day. Took all the abuse that we were given, and got through it. But you know, taught me a lot, I think, about how to get on with life. At this point, I'd like to actually also say thanks to Annette, because when I first was asked to be best man, Martin did say it was going to be a fairly small, quiet affair, pretty low key. If it had been left to Martin, the barn would be dark. You'd have probably bought your own food. And he would have ticketed the event, yeah. So, Annette, thank you very much for your wonderful organisation of everything, and a fantastic day. So some other stuff that you might recognise about Martin if you know him, and that you should know about him if you don't, is that I wouldn't say he's got a competitive streak. I would say that he rises to the challenge. Whether it's coffee making, you know, playing chess, doing handstands, chopping wood, climbing, Martin's usually trying to turn it into some form of competition. And in fact, actually, Annette and Martin went to India last Christmas and went to a yoga ashram. And I was half expecting a phone call from Martin basically saying he's got set, you know, like an hour's meditation, and I nailed it in 10 minutes. He's also quite competitive at falling. He has the motto, if you're not falling, you're not trying. I've seen him fall off mountain bikes, and in fact he's fallen professionally off mountain bikes in a race. I've seen him do it in front of a photographer. I have photos from that. I've seen him fall off snowboards, I've seen him fall out of trees, which is not very good for a tree surgeon. I believe he once fell off a bridge in New Zealand with a bungee cord attached to him, which in itself isn't unusual. But in order to get the free bungee jump, he was wearing fairy wings and a tutu. I can give you photos of that. So yeah, I mean, the falling side, I think ultimately he obviously fell for a net. And it was really nice actually, because a couple of years ago I came back from the States and Martin kind of said, hey, I've got together with a net. And he was really happy. And the thing that he said after that was just that he could be himself. And I truly think you two know each other really well. You have no illusions, which is obviously why you're getting married You know, I think that's going to stand you in good stead moving forwards. So, if you had actually held the position on your hands there, which is what I started you out with, I was going to do a joke about Martin, for the first and only time in the relationship, and he's got his hand on top. Yeah, because this is the only time he will have his upper hand in the relationship. Yeah. So I guess that's all I want to say. I'm going to leave it now and let you move on to I think it's the first dance next. But yeah, I wish you all the best, and I would like you to join me in charge your glasses. It's the bride and groom. Bride and groom. So, okay, you're going to cut the cake. Thank you, Claire. Oh yeah, and there was one more thing. Summer asked me to remind you all that there's a postbox outside for your cards if you want to drop them in there rather than leave them on the tables. And one more thing while I've got Mike is somebody actually dropped some money outside. So yeah.
John, I'll back you up.
Everybody!